Hi everybody. So today in this video, this is just going to be a little bit of a welcome to type 1 diabetes. So you've got type 1 diabetes, kind of a thing. Last video in my mini-med site changing video, got some positive feedback and people would like some more, information about type 1 diabetes. I can give you some more information about all the other diabetes that I know about in later videos, but today we're just going to do a bit of an introduction and, kind of say, welcome to the world of type 1 diabetes. Things that I'll go over, really just things that I wish that I was told firsthand, and maybe even some knowledge that I've gained to share with the young, new, fresh, dead organ society. So, first things first is that if you've probably have already met with some like diabetic counselors, or maybe you just want to learn some information about type 1 diabetes. When I was told when I was first met with like diabetic doctors and diabetic knowledgists, learners, the words that I can't think about, they told me that there would be a cure for diabetes in 5 years. There'd be a cure for diabetes in 5 years. I've had type 1 diabetes for closer to 16 years now. My younger sister was diagnosed when she was 5 years old, and they told her, yeah, within 5 years, there would be a cure for it. She's had diabetes for 20 years. So I don't think, don't be discouraged that there hasn't been a cure for it yet. Diabetes has been around for closer to like 2,000 years. I feel like I forget who it was, but the ancient Greeks or Romans, they used to test one, or I should say, to figure out if somebody was a diabetic. They would drink the urine of the diabetic, and if it tasted sweet, the doctor, or I don't know what it was at the time, would say, all right, yep, you've got diabetes. Your pancreas is dead. Um, Nowadays, we've got better technology. We don't need to do that. Although, in the case of technology failure, there you go. um, but what I'm trying to say there is that we are just constantly evolving with the technology of diabetes. 5 years ago, I didn't have that mini med insulin pump. I was still using needles and a form of like an EpiPen insulin, injector. I would be able just to inject me. I did have a pump before, but the pump technology was kind of iffy. It would deliver the a lesser amount than what was put into the device, and so our blood sugar was high. It was basically killing us. But nowadays, the pump that I have now is fantastic. It's really great. And so you shouldn't be upset. Don't be too upset that we don't have a cure. Um, at least to my knowledge, though, I should say that there are ways that we can get rid of it. Like I in the news, nothing that's been certified, but I've been looking around, with my own little like interwebs that I look at. People are telling me that they're testing new drugs. They're testing stuff to prevent diabetes. I don't know about reversing, or I shouldn't say I don't know, because I do know one thing, but that's another video that we can talk about. Um, Sorry, a lot of ums. I'm trying to think at the same time. I guess I shouldn't say that there's not a cure, but there's definitely a lot of ways that we can handle it and treat it. You can live a totally normal life nowadays. Diabetics back in like what, 19 or before 1960s? Sorry, I forget when it was invented. It's been 100 years, 1920s. Sorry, now I remember. Diabetics would probably live like a really short life. They probably live about 20 years after their diagnosis, if that. Nowadays, I mean, diabetics, if they do everything right, can live normal, healthy lifestyles. Um, it may sound scary. It might be a little bit scary at first with all the pricking of the fingers, the syringes that you might have to do at first. It's a lot of pokey stabbies. You get used to it. Honestly, after like maybe a week or two, I was used to it. I was sure scared. I hated flu shots. Hated them. But thanks to diabetes, I'm used to needles now. Obviously, obviously I'm used to needles. So with diabetes does come some perks. There's plenty of perks with it. Don't think that your life is ruined now. If anything, you just need to make some adjustments. You know. Sorry, I'm trying. Got to think of other stuff that we can do. You can eat whatever you want. You can eat whatever you want. As a type 1 diabetic, you can eat whatever you want. Yes, you have to put in insulin. But what I do to think of it is just this. If I think of food is essentially, it's got poison in it now to me, I just need a cure or an anti-venom, anti-poison to it. So sugar or glucose, it would be more correct to say, glucose is the poison. Insulin is the counterbalance, anti-poison. It's the cure. Nice band. The glucose, I'm not too sure what it attaches to or what it does, but glucose to us type 1 diabetics affects us on a molecular level, straight down to the atom. It breaks us down. So if our blood sugar is super duper high, we are essentially dying faster than most people on an atomic level. We're breaking down. Kidney starts failing. Other smaller things might start falling out. You start getting neuropathy. You start losing. Neuropathy is losing feeling, like at the end, like on your toes or your fingers. It mostly starts in the feet. For some reason, type 1 diabetics just don't have any luck with our feet. Maybe we need a lucky rabbit's foot. Who knows? There you go. But these are the dangers of type 1 diabetes. We're not trying to scare you. I'm sure you've heard this already, but this is just what you need to know. What's going to be happening. What else is going on with the diabetes? Oh yeah, I think you even you start losing eyesight. Essentially, your whole body is just decaying. It's almost like leprosy to me. And to be honest, I do feel like diabetes is like a mesh up of almost a lot of horrible diseases. This might seem a bit controversial, and in no way, shape, or form am I discrediting anything. To each, everyone does have to experience pains in their own problems, but sometimes I do feel like, not sometimes, a lot of the times I do feel like that diabetes is just easier cancer. And like I mentioned, that's not me trying to say that, anyone's better or, because of our diseases or troubles or issues, anyone's better. It's just from my understanding of cancer, you guys have to take something or you die. Diabetics have to take something or we die. But also cancer people have to, when they take that something, it could also kill them if it's too much. Chemotherapy, that's what I'm talking about. It's radiation. Of course you're going to die from that. But cancer's horrible. Just cancer's horrible. Diabetes, a bit more manageable. A bit more easy. If you don't treat it, you get sick. You feel tired and exhausted. If you don't treat cancer, you get sick and you get tired. But I'm pretty sure even with chemotherapy, you get sick and get tired too. But back to diabetes. You can do whatever you want. You can exercise. You can still exercise. Fun fact, there is a Mr. Universe, or Mr. Galaxy? I believe it might be Mr. Galaxy. Let's go ahead and do that. A Mr. Galaxy who is a type 1 diabetic, a bodybuilder. I forget the name. I'll try and look into that here. Figure that out for you guys if you absolutely want to. But from what I remember reading, he didn't have enough money for insulin, and so what he would do would just work out a ton, which is a good way to get the blood sugars down. But insulin is just that better way of doing it. It's quicker. Cardio gets the insulin down too. So what this man did was just kind of build his own backyard workout station and would just work out. Kept his blood sugars low. He was saving his insulin and won Mr. Galaxy one year. I gotta find the guy. I won't look it up right now, but maybe I'll try and look it up before I upload this video. Um, you can go hiking. You can. I believe I said, yeah, you can eat whatever you want. Let's go back to that. If you wanted to eat a whole cake, go ahead and eat that cake. Just make sure that you convert the carbohydrates to the proper insulin units. You'll talk to your doctor, your endocrinologist, a doctor who studies the digestive system, which would include your pancreas. You would talk to your doctor about what your ratios are, your boluses are. Bolus is essentially just the amount of insulin that you will be taking for one thing. So, for an example, me, my boluses and everything like that. Let's say in a can of or in a bottle of Coca-Cola. I believe that's like 59. We'll say 49 just to make it easier on me. 49 carbs. If you look on the little nutrition fact diagram that's usually like on the side or the back of some foods, it'll say like, total fat, total carbohydrates. Look at the total carbohydrates. And then you also want to see on the top if it says like serving size for like 1 or 2 servings. It'll say this. But for a bottle of Coke, it's usually just for the bottle. So for a bottle of Coca-Cola, we said it was 49 grams. My doctor has told me that I need to put in 1 unit for every 7 grams of carbs, carbohydrates. 7, 14, 21, 28, I think it's 7, 7, 14, 21, 28, 5, 42, 7. 7 units. I would be putting in 7 units for 1 bottle. 7 units isn't really that much. To me, it's not that much. This is the great, amazing part about diabetes, because with everybody being different, our bodies need different amounts of insulin. So you might need to put in maybe 2 units for that 49. Maybe not. Maybe not. Or maybe you might have to put in maybe like, you might have to put in like 10 units for that Coke. You maybe have to put in like maybe, I'd say closer to 4 units, depending on your ratios. That's just for the carbohydrates. So there are foods that you can eat, like meat. Meat doesn't have sugar in it. Thank you. Depending on what is made though, or how it's made, you might have to put in insulin for it. We like to put in spices and sugars to make meat taste good. Most protein-packed foods you don't really have to put in insulin. And I'll show you guys with this. The old Kool-Aid Blueberry Blasts that were like the hype when I was a kid. Those things are like 7 units. Or not 7 units, sorry, 7 carbs. It's literally 1 unit for me. And so I had my doctor tell me that's really up to me. Like, if you want to, you can put in insulin for it. You don't have to. It's a unit. That's up to you. If you want to be good about it, you can. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself though. But essentially with food, you just need to look up the carbohydrates. Some foods it's hard to tell. It's hard to know, like homemade meals. That's hard. That's where it gets hard. So what we recommend is just kind of guess. It's better to go higher with your insulin units, not your blood sugar. Make a good guess. More insulin the better. You don't want to have high blood sugar. We'll get to low blood sugar in a second. But what I would recommend is just, putting in your insulin about maybe 20 minutes earlier so that your insulin starts to activate and your blood sugar does start to go down a bit. And then you could just chow down and start eating. I tried not to have homemade, which is why eating out is just so much better for me. If I am eating in, I need to figure out, I have to do, science, Walter White kind of stuff. And chemistry and all that stuff. It's a lot of math in your heads. Another perk about diabetes, you get super good at math. You will be good at math. Let's go ahead and go to our low blood sugars. Low blood sugars, I feel, are it's another good perk with diabetes. To some. With low blood sugar, you just need to eat something or drink something. Doctors will say you'll need 15 carbohydrates to boost up your sugars. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. 15 or 20 carbs is pretty good. So, like, maybe a little fruit cup or even like a juice box, juicy juice. What else is there? Sometimes I would even drink like a brisk tea, um, like a small little just a juice box or something like that. Um, they'll tell you to eat something. I will recommend drink something. It's easier and quicker for the body to digest foods or liquid foods. Um, but in emergency, if you gotta eat something, you can eat something. Um, I just go with liquids because it's quicker. But yeah, feel free to eat that ho ho or Twinkie if you got it handy with you. It'll help. It'll get you there. It'll boost you back up. Low blood sugar is when you don't have enough sugar in the blood. How weird is that? Your body, or as a type 1 diabetic, you were worried about having high blood sugar and not being able to eat it, but now you actually do need to eat it. That was a surprise to me too. You, if you have ever felt hangry, hungry and angry at the same time, that's essentially what it is, or the closest thing to it. You can die. You can die if it goes to zero, if there's nothing in it, if you go too low. Closest that me and my sister have been, I think she was like 20 and I've been like 25. And that's dangerous. That's passed out. We're not conscious. We're not responsive. That's really just it. And we start to get pale. I guess what I should say is as we're dropping, you just start to get loopy. Almost as if you were drunk. You just get loopy. As I feel kind of like light a little bit. I start to kind of like float. And then I just can't stay awake. I just pass out. And so the hard, I guess what you could say is diabetes isn't really about not trying to have high blood sugar. It's more about trying to keep balance. I believe I mentioned blood sugars. If not, we'll go ahead and I'll just kind of go over it again. If we want to keep our blood sugars as a normal human being who doesn't have type 1 diabetes, if we want to keep our blood sugars at anywhere between 70 to like 130, some diabetics with their high blood sugar, they can go up to like 800, and that's called ketoacidosis, diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA, and that's when you can pass out from having too much blood sugar. You can pass out from having too little blood sugar. How fun. Terribly sorry. It's a balance. It really is that balance. There's so much work into it, but through enough tears, sweat and tears, honestly, you can get through it. It's not the worst thing out there. I was scared how old was I when I was 12 when I got it. I had no idea how my sister would do this. I had no idea how I was going to do it, or even how some friends that I've met have done it. Yet here I am, 15 years later, still standing strong, still doing it, still kicking. It's a challenge. It definitely is not easy, but it's possible to live with it. It's not scary. It really isn't scary. With a lot of the words that I've been talking about, I'll have to make a part 2 of this video. I don't want to make this too long, but it is a challenge, but it can be rewarding. I've met a lot of fun people from it. I've made friends from it. I've gotten paid for it. I've made it my own. It had me for maybe a year, but now I have it. It's mine. It is mine. And maybe, yeah, sure, my blood sugar does spike every now and then, and I still get some lows. I like passing out. I don't like passing out. But it's mine. It is mine, and I control it. to an extent. It sure does like to do its thing. Um, but I hope I didn't scare you too much. Um, or at the very least, I hope that I've at least taught you something. And it's been a bit more informative now. I'll try and start making some more videos. A lot of people are curious about this. I will mention this, that I am a advocate for lowering insulin prices. Um, I wonder if we could still... I had a change.org petition to try and get insulin prices to just stay at $35 a month, regardless of what you need, like a copay. I might put that in a link in the description. We'll see, because I don't know how that change.org thing works. I don't know if you signed the petition, if that's still even a thing now, or if we're done with the deadline. I will look into that if it's still up and open, or if it's not, just disregard what I've just said. Who cares about it, right? But anyway, yeah, I'm a huge advocate for the diabetes. I want to teach people, the new kids, the new adults, anybody who is just curious about diabetes. I want to teach people about it, because there's still a bit of a stigma about it. A lot of people think that you can catch diabetes. No, it's more genetics. A lot of people think that it's because you're overweight, or you're just very unhealthy. That can play a factor into it, but it really just goes back into genetics. I can go into how I got it in a different video. But again, I am just trying to be informative here. There's plenty of good, scary things. I need to quit saying, I'm sorry. But there's plenty of good things that can come out of type 1 diabetes. If you're in high school, you got a lot of nurse visits, got to cut class for a little bit. With the adult life, diabetes is a disability, and so it's recognized by the American Disability Association, so you are allowed to have disabled perks. I'm not talking about, getting to park in the handicap spot, but you do get to enter into the national force here in the United States for free. So how about that? I'm going to try and visit all of them. I'm 27, had it for 15 years, and I haven't been to one, so I guess I'll start that out. I feel like that's a pretty good introduction to everything right now. I know this is, on my timer, it's about 23 minutes now, and I hope this is a lot of information. I do hope it's a lot of information for you, because if you're a type 1 diabetic, it's going to be helpful. You need to know this. I didn't learn it overnight. Like I said, I've had it for 15 years. I've just had to deal with it for 15 years, so it's been stuck with me. It's almost like it's like breathing to me. It's automatic. So what I'm going to start doing now, sorry to cut away from the introduction now, so what I'm going to start doing now is I will start making informative diabetic videos. If you know me in real life, I've actually already made Facebook posts about information of diabetes. I can look into that a bit more. Shared those with you. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll try and put my email in there if you wanted to email me some questions, or maybe some other way of you contacting me so that I can give you some information. So we'll go ahead, we'll stop there, and I will try and make some more videos for you guys. Just want to say thank you all for, watching these videos. I hope it was informative to you. Again, I would love to give you some information and get rid of some stigmas with diabetes. And I guess that's really it. Thanks again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see ya.